Hello, and thank you for choosing to listen to Indigo Brave's newsletter via our new system. So, hopefully, this is coming directly into your ears, I will basically read you the newsletter so you can get on with the important things that you're doing. The intro video is up, and this is the blog post, The Summer Holidays, Redefining the Juggle for Working Parents. So one of the themes of our Lamas Harvest newsletter is, of course, the summer holidays, because it's a big thing which we all have to negotiate. Much bigger if you do have children, of course. So this is aimed at parents. It used to happen to me every year. Every year, I would be charging towards the end of term, thinking, okay, be done soon. And there's another concert, and there's another sharing, and there's another sports day, and another trip to organise. It'll be done soon, done soon. And then we get to the end, and the term had finished, and it was, yay. Oh, hang on a minute. Where's my break? Because there was no break. I had to still go to work, but this time I had to be a full-time carer for the kids as well, trying to get the full on play dates, summer clubs, anything organized. Yeah, I never really got the exhale that I expected to get, or at least it didn't last very long, perhaps a weekend, a couple of days. And then I would be back into the hang on a minute. Who is this summer holiday for? Because it's not for me. The kids, of course, had newfound freedom, but many working parents find themselves carrying a very heavy load, and the research very clearly still says that it is mothers who is carrying the biggest load here. And the rhythm's gone, you know. Sure, I used to struggle with the packed lunches or the late night homework crises or the yet another school run, but the rhythm of it is immovable. It's tight and it's a fixed structure, and it's easier to negotiate sometimes because there's just no flex in it. So when the rhythm breaks of our emotional and mental and even physical rhythms, it's much more difficult. Of course, in our professional lives, we're very used to these structures, we're very used to the rhythms. It's all about the quarterly review, strategic planning, where's my next cycle, what are the project milestones? And those frameworks are essential. They're providing clarity and containment all the time. And in the summer holidays, when that rhythm evaporates, we somehow have to still be the responsive leaders we want to be, but we're also being full-time caregivers. We're also being a logistics manager of basically what is another whole system of our family. And I don't know about you, but particularly at the beginning of those summer holidays, the emotional labour used to be quite big and often utterly unspoken about. We called it decompression week, and slowly we managed to remember to put it in. Hang on a minute, this is decompression week, but the kids' behaviour would go off the charts to seemingly no reason, and we would remember that they are actually decompressing from that very rigorous school timetable and year into the freer time, and it doesn't happen overnight. So even in homes with shared parenting, studies consistently show that women are still carrying the brunt of all the organisation, the management, and the emotional labour, the emotional work of the family's needs, of the domestic tasks, and of the kids, particularly. So we've got to set an intention of what the school holidays are about. And I very quickly redefined the word holiday. Okay, so this is the no school time. This is the no school time. It is not a holiday. It's the no school time, and holidays happen inside that no school time. Even that supported me to be a bit more aware and ready for what was coming. So, number one, decompression week. I felt the kids were unmoored. They suddenly they weren't having the same social interaction on a day-to-day basis. They wanted more screen time, which I was vehemently opposed to. And we would quite quickly end up in conflict. We'd end up with competing needs. And I'm sure you have your own versions of this. Of course, I, I'm relaying stories of when they were a bit littler, but when they got into secondary school, the challenges didn't necessarily decrease, they were just different. And I think this increasingly is something that I'm becoming very aware of as I talk to many other parents of kidults. Now, my children are in that sort of late adolescent kidult stage. They still need their parents and they are still not independent adults and they still need support, but it's very subtle how that support can be taken on by them and when to step forward and when to step back. It's like a constant dance. So if you're in that stage, even not perhaps dealing with the summer no school time, but a break of a different kind, perhaps post college or uni, it still needs intention, it still needs negotiating. So I've talked to a client this week who said that the worst thing that she finds is she labours under the misapprehension that this wonderful family together time is going to happen. Oh, it's going to be our holiday, our summer holiday, and she's working, and the kids put the headphones on. Hers are teenagers, high school level, and suddenly there's this disassociated, disconnected, isolated, even family unit, which causes her a lot more stress. So, what can we do about it? I think it's absolutely essential that we claim a new rhythm and we set it with intention. So, leadership begins with presence. We would definitely want to be present to the challenges of our organisation, the challenges of our team, the challenges of the individuals that we lead. We have to do the same at home. We've got to be a very joined force with anybody that we're co-parenting with, as joined and aligned and focused as we possibly can be, right at the beginning, to say this is how this no school time is going to happen. And hopefully we redefine it as the enormous project that it is. You know, it's 6 weeks of no school. It is not a holiday. It is a no school time. And then we engage the whole family in the process of the no school time. So, you know that I am a great believer in calling a family meeting, and preparing for that no school time is a really important thing to do. Now, most of the preparation I do with my husband, or did with my husband, so that we were aligned. We had not a tight timetable, but a rhythm, a way in which the weeks would work, and each week was different. Decompression week was not the same as our holiday week where we were absolutely away, and then we would have a camping week. They're different weeks, different times. We would encourage the kids to do camping in the garden so that they were feeling that they were away, even though they were with us, and we could still work. So, a rhythm for me, thinking in rhythms rather than timetables helped me to have a lot of flow, but for each week to have its own flavour. So I wasn't staring into this sort of 6 week abyss. And sometimes, yes, our holiday, we weren't taking holidays away at that time, particularly when we lived on the farm that we used to live on, that many of you will have heard me talk about before, where for a while we were off grid, had no electricity at all. I put it down to watching way too much Little House on the Prairie in my younger days. And those summers could just extend out. And I wanted to give the kids freedom, and I wanted to be able to give them that opportunity to be bored, the opportunity to be outside with no instant stimulation, no instant dopamine hits, no fast gratification, sticks and mud and outdoor space. And that was very important to us. But the reality was they still needed supervision and they still needed structure. So rhythm rather than timetable. Great. And just a note to boredom. When we resist the urge to fill every gap with entertainment or tasks, then we're really allowing the inner world of the child to emerge, the inner creativity, the inner imagination. So important that if your kids ever say, I'm bored, that we can go, great, that's brilliant, well done. Well done for being able to be bored. Stay with that feeling. Stay with that feeling and see what that feeling wants to tell you about. No need to fix it. Great. Okay, so let's look at some strategies which supported me and us and our family. And I still talked about to my clients. And actually, I've chosen the top three that my clients with younger families, because I'm not in that bracket anymore, have told me that work the best for them. So, number one, weekly family meetings. So, as I said, the prep, the intention, the timetable of that whole summer, the rhythm of that whole summer is obviously done by you uh, and or partners. We can't start to involve children in discussions which are beyond their capability. So the intent is set by them, sorry, by you, but the buy-in, the empowerment can be them. So once a week, we held a family meeting. We used a talking stick, of course, one of our favourite things, and the talking stick could be chosen by different members of the family. So it can be absolutely anything, a stone, even a wooden spoon. And the principle being everyone can speak. We want to hear your voices. No one can interrupt while you're speaking, but the family is not a democracy. So we want to hear your voice, your hopes, your needs, and parents make the decision. And really essential to get those two things going so that the container is held strongly by the parents, but the kids have got empowerment within that. And you can set any structure that you want, three things that you would like to achieve in this coming week. What are your hopes? What would you like to do? Have one at the beginning, which is, wow, looking at these no school times. Is there anything you particularly like to do? And then that's where the overnight camping in the garden thing came from, actually. It wasn't something that I'd particularly thought of. And the bike rides and, things that we managed to find time for that came from them was a really special thing. But then that is balanced with, okay, that's the three things you hope for out of this no school time. What are you willing to contribute? What can you take on and do consistently for the family? They're not the paid chores, which we always held as separate. Our kids never got pocket money as such. There were chores available that had money as a reward, and then there were chores that were just for the family, just for the joy of contributing. Not sure they always saw it like that, but important that that is how it was, let's say, expressed, and that's how it was contained. Lots of other topics can go into these meetings, of course. We used to use it for menu planning. Yeah, as we said, task allocation. And also the idea that, okay, it's cook night this week. Who's going to do cook night what what help do you want? You know, what when are you going to choose what you want to cook? Age appropriate, obviously, and that means shopping, and that means planning, and that means how are we going to work that into the shopping job? Great. I think the family meeting also builds the idea of respectful listening, of agency, of empowerment, and it's shared responsibility. We are all responsible in our own way for this no holiday period. How are we going to make it work? And that means that shared responsibility can become a lived experience within your family, not just expectations. And the worst kind of expectations, of course, which are unmet expectations, assumptions, horrible because nobody gets what they need in that experience. Everybody just gets let down, basically. Horrible, horrible. Okay. Number two is one of my favourites. So the reframing of all chores as care in action. So that's what I meant when I said, you know, things that we contribute for the family. We all love each other, and that's absolutely taken as read, although it is often verbalized if that comes up. But more importantly, in a sense, particularly with younger kids, than the words is the action. So chores are never punishments in our household. They are proof that we care about each other. Everybody's part of this living system, and we can show we care by bringing our actions to the family system. Everybody can feed the pets. Everybody can put the socks in pairs. Anybody can demonstrate, okay, this, you know, when my teenagers didn't want to, you know, whatever. Let's think of a really good example. Put their stuff away off the bathroom sink. So it would just start with a toothbrush and then extend to so many things across the sink. And asking them to do it never met with success because they didn't want to do it. So they wouldn't remember. And when I framed it as for me, because it's one of the ways I can see how much you care about me and this family, I appreciate if you put things away. And when you put that away, it is a showing me that you really appreciate the family, and it's a lovely thing. So camp, we, as you know, we're keen campers, and we used to call it camp care. So just the little game that okay, we're camping in our own house because it's no school time, and when we're away, we would do a camp care every day, which is making the tent and the camp outside and inside nice for us all to be a part of, organized and clear and clean so that we can enjoy it. And we just transferred the same thing to the house. So, what are your camp care jobs for today? The other thing that is important in this is making sure it gets done. So, camp care that doesn't get done is just so frustrating. So, sticker charts, rewards, anything that works for your family. For my family who have some significant autistic spectrum challenges, and cannot stand being asked to do things now, the word now triggers various forms of their PDA, which is pathological demand avoidance. That's not the topic of this newsletter, so you have to look that one up. So it was very important that the tasks were there at the beginning of the day and they chose when to do them. That's their empowerment. You know, you are, when they were old enough, you're head chef today. That means this is the shopping, this is the menu that we planned, blah, blah. When do you want to start? So the energy, what help do you need? Yeah. The energy and the timing was up to them. And definitely when you're clearing up together, we used to do a clear up after dinner together. And one of our absolute favourite ways of getting that done was back to back DJ. So back to back DJ, everybody just picks a track. Thank goodness for Spotify. I will say it makes it a lot easier than, getting the vinyl out, which is a whole nother job. But everybody, you get to listen to music you'd never listen to, but also they have to listen to yours too. So that's fantastic. And it's a really great sense of responsibility being shared. Okay, and the number three that came up as the best one for the no school time is protect your boundaries and remember your rest windows. So, again, very age dependent, this one. Different ages need different types of rests and different, um, you know, rest windows. But what I found is if we could all agree on a rest together after lunch, if we could all agree on a family dog walk, if we could all agree on, a space and time where we were together without a job. I could argue that walking the dogs was a job, but it didn't feel like a job because we were all doing it together. That is such a good idea. It really brought us together, but it was restful. If not, our nervous system was resting. And in fact, there is a Friday 15 on the different types of rest, because there are seven different types of rest. So that might be something that you want to find on our Mighty Networks. It's there for free. So, how can we protect our boundaries? Well, if you're lucky enough to have a space in which you work, which can be closed off, fabulous. When I've got my headphones on, I am focused. Another great boundary. Just knowing that a sign on the door is a no entry. Really important that everybody gets used to the idea that we are not available all the time, except in emergency, obviously. And again, this has to be age appropriate. Great. Something that took me way too long to understand is that when I honor my own time, then I am teaching my kids to honor their time. And when I am too available, it doesn't do what part of me thought, which is show them how much I care about them. It actually makes them believe that they have to be completely available for people they care about as well. So, not a good idea. And it's very much more important to actually honour your own time. Of course, you could argue it's the only thing that is truly, truly, truly limited 24 hours a day. Great. So I think the no school time is a true stress test. But if we can see it coming, if we can get ready for it, if we can prepare, then we will be much, much better. And if it's hit us a bit as a shock, like it did do for us many, many years running, we can still do a little bit of backpedaling and put some things in place quick at the beginning of the season. It's well worth it. Let it teach you, because it really does support us in our leadership. Co-leadership when we're parenting together. Don't anything you can try not to take on board all on your own, always worth it. But it is a form of leadership and it will let you look at the rhythm of your summer from a different perspective. It's a redefined perspective. Okay, I am leading my part in this family's successful summer. What do I need to do? Beautiful. And we believe that this will generate some reflective questions for you, the conscious leader. So, what can the summer no school time teach us? How does rhythm create a soft structure which allows for both boundaries and freedom? Where can I create some extra empowerment and more shared ownership. That applies to work and home, of course. Where could there be some unseen opportunities for a little bit more buy-in? And how might I use this summer to model some truly sustainable leadership for my children and my team? What do they need to see me doing, which shows and teaches that we need to be sustainable as leaders, sustainable as human beings, sustainable as families, if we're really going to make sustainable organisations and sustainable systems and, of course, sustainable families. So we'd love to hear your answers, of course. Those questions will be up on our Firelight Circle, and hopefully people will feel safe near our firelight to come and share their own answers so we can get these conversations going and find out how we're all doing out there. Okay. Enjoy the no school time, and I hope you get a holiday as well. Thanks very much.